there's nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. The brothers Meredith will be back soon. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Hang on, hang on, hang on, please. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong. Hello. Hello, everyone. Okay. Everybody calm down. Is this working? Is this functioning? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is the game quite loud? These are our questions. These are our questions. Also, every time I go down to my bottom window to mess with the settings, everything goes down. Yeah. Stop it. Stop it. There we go. Yeah, I need to turn the music down in my game, which might mean. Fuck, what kind of time are you calling this for a Sunday stream? Sound is okay, but man, your camera doesn't like it when you move. It is a bit loud. Hang on. Let me go back. Exit to main menu. You should be able to edit your sound settings from wherever you are in a game, especially when you're playing it on a Mac whilst also streaming, and it really is struggling. I'd like options, please. Settings, there we go. Audio, master. Let's bring that all down. Bring the music down specifically. Continue. Hello everyone. As you may tell from the slightly weird setup and strange hold screen and things like that, this is not a usual Sunday stream. I'm in Lincolnshire on the farm, and I'm doing a little sneaky stream. Caprico, Tim, did you hit your head on the barn door? No, I ducked. So we're at a strange time. Don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for. I just wanted to do a little something. And I think, I mean, as tempting as it is to be the Sultan of Rum, I I think I might be the king of Sicily. Now, as you may have seen from the title of the stream, actually, unbeknownst to most people, I will be a secret Goblin King, and I do have a secret Goblin agenda. But that's to go on later. The fox was quick to say, however, sir, whither so fast away? Are you afraid of me that am your friend, a fiend, or worse? I should be to intend you harm, or perhaps villainy upon you, dear sir. I was not even spying on you. Okay. Ethan, my sneaky partner Ash got me a cameo from you for Christmas. Thank you very much. It was a lovely surprise. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Rainbow Nerd has given a 3-month gift subscription. Has been given a 3-month gift subscription courtesy of 71 Penguins. Thank you very much, 71 Penguins, for giving that to Rainbow Nerd. Very kind of you. And Nerd with a Knife has also subscribed. They've been subscribed 48 months. Fuck it, resub time. Thank you very much. I'm on a much reduced setup at the moment, and I can't see my menu. What do you call it? Stream control thing. I haven't got enough room or enough screens, so do shout at me if I miss thanking somebody for a sub. Similarly, I can't open the links because it will open them on my main screen. It'll minimize things. It'll be a whole thing. Thank you, Capri Cosplay, also for the cheers. Thank you for those. I'm wearing just a jumper, but it is kind of quite Christmassy. Am I particularly small in the corner? Should I make myself a little bit bigger? It does mean it's our 4-year stream anniversary. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Lazy Kiwi, for giving 5 gift subs. Thank you very much. Those are going to Miles Alva, Like a Fox, Tiny Don S, X Shadow XK, and Blue Marigold, and Valorant. The good people at Valorant have added onto that an extra gift sub, which is going to Dam of Sky. So thank you very much to Valorant. I'm so tiny. All right, I'll make myself a little bigger. Is that big? This big? About this big? We'll go that big. I don't know what that covers when we get into game, but we'll find out. Eddie Starboy has resubscribed with Prime. They've been subscribed for 41th month. Oh shit, it's subscription o'clock, isn't it? Thank you very much. Capri Cosplay has donated a gift sub to Retro Bagel. They've given out 23 gift subs. Thank you very much, Capri Cosplay. Oh, the Christmas giving. We've reached a level 3 hype train. By goodness. Yay, jumper close up. Capri, we go from Tiny Tim to Large Tim. Karen, I love that we lost pixels the moment Tim got too big. We did, yes, and apologies if the stream gets a little chunky. The internet is currently running through my phone, which is perched on a windowsill over there, because that's the best place in the room to get signal. So sometimes it's fine, but it is prone to some drops. But we shall struggle on. Remember, the frames took a moment to load, and then suddenly it was Large Tim. LPW, hey Tim, question. What's with the numbers at the start of stream titles now? Well, it's a good question, LPW. I was able to... I accidentally found a thing where you could export some stats from Twitch, and then from that I was able to do a little bit of maths, and work out that at that time it had been... Was it 700 and... what was it? 723 streams, and it was just quite a nice number, so I thought let's start adding onto the start of titles what number of streams it is, so we know when we're at 750, we know when we're at 800, we can celebrate when we've got sort of big numbers that we hit. Rainbow Nerd, Tim does math only when entirely needed, and I call it maths because there's more than one. In fact, there's quite a lot of numbers, so maths. Retro Bagel Potato Tim. Oh yeah, we're gonna have frame drops. We're gonna have frame drops. Talk about number go up indeed. Number go up indeed. Fake coffee cup. He's English brackets derogatory. Fair. For estimate, do we really want reminders of how much time we waste here? There's at least 12, Eddie Sourboy. There's at least 12 maths by my last count, and that number keeps going up all the time. Next year, it's projected to be at least 14. Pentel, hey, guess who didn't get told Tim would stream at this time because he never said in mod chat, I will stream even if we are past our usual stream time. Yeah, you You're only a dim. That's fine. That's fine. I had to wait. Like I thought I was going to stream, and then we had relatives around, and then I thought I was going to stream, and it turned out it was going to take 45 minutes to download Crusader Kings 3, and then I thought I was going to stream. The time kept on moving, so I just went live when it was possible. I did warn you earlier today, though, that I would try and stream at some point. And what is an appointment, if not a vague, ever-moving point in time at some point during the day? So I understand, Pentel, that you will not be able to hang around. Remember, they keep discovering new shapes, so they have to do many maths. Many maths. Right, so, yeah. I think we're going to be the Goblin King of Sicily. I'm a Hauteville. I'm Catholic. I'm lazy. I'm lustful. But I am content. Like, I want it. I don't want to work for it. But I'm happy with what I got. You know? It's nice. Feudal Kingdom of Sicily. Or... Good creator. Oh, the game has started. Can't create my own ruler. Fine. I've forgotten how to play this game, so buckle up for bad play. Bedell, I'll be playing with friends. You'll be on your own. If Moose is here, will be here. Tell them you're allowed no sympathy and respect. So I'm not allowed sympathy and respect, but I'm allowed sympathy or respect. Thank you. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, right. Frames as it loads everything in. Give it a moment. I don't know how successful this stream is going to be. MacBook is quite hot. Okay, now does this indicate to me that perhaps I need to turn down some graphical settings? Not that I can see why it would be that graphically intense. Let's get a... Oh, you'd think 720 would be an option. But okay. Let's try that. Slightly lower resolution. Quality preset. Are we back? Are we back? We did. Oh, sorry. And I was messing around with settings at the time. And so I didn't even notice. I was looking up here and I had a little pop-up here basically saying, I'm broken. Thank you, Kira. I mean, since I am Tim, you should all give me money. Oh, he's back. I mean, I'm back. Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Kira, for just putting in the effort. We're getting a lot of dropped frames. Resma has a frozen screen. And Tim's voice. Talk about so maybe play something less. Well, the thing is, the internet dropping out shouldn't be relevant to this. Like, my CPU usage is not unhappy. You hear me, but you don't see me. Well, let's find out. If I exit this game, which it's proving difficult to do because I'm changing settings. Very coffee up. Hey Tim, why don't you just read us something instead? I mean, that is always the option. That is always the option, that we abandon this stream. Oh my god. I clicked a button and we were talking and it only just made the noise saying that it's accepted the change. Yes. So Penguins, what we have a nice time chatting instead of gaming. It's possibly the way. Right, I'm going to exit the game. I'll really see if that helps the frame rates. Because again, these could be completely different issues that my MacBook is struggling to run Crusader Kings 3 and also the internet is bad. Wow, it's really struggling to even quit. Can anyone see me yet? Yes, F5 hard resets all round. Wow, this is so unhappy. So very, very unhappy. I'm now to typing because I don't know if anyone can hear me or see me. I'm stop motion. I'm gone. Rainbow Node, Tim maybe has too much pressure on the Mac, but the mobile hotspot. Rainbow Node, if you could see me and hear me, you might know that we've discussed this. It's possible. It's possible. Mermaid, some people audio, others have nothing. Okay. Just letting people who can't see or hear me that know that I'm currently just trying to quit out. I'm going to force quit Crusader Kings. I'm going to force quit. Yeah, it's not responding, is it? Well, then how about we force quit it? There we go. We're out of it now. It's not binding. Okay. Time to refresh. It's time to refresh, everyone. It's time to relax and refresh. We're just going to go full screen me for a bit. Right. So what appeared to happen there is I got kicked off the mobile hotspot. It didn't tell me, and then it went on to the Wi-Fi here at the farm, which is just simply not fit for purpose when it comes to streaming. But it didn't tell me that. It just quietly switched to networks, and then everything was broken. So let's, you know what? Let's whoop whoop whoop. There we go. And I'm just going to shift myself so I'm in the middle of the screen. I'm no longer in the middle of the room, but I'm in the middle of the screen. Hello, everyone. Perhaps it's simply a solitaire stream. Well, we've got options. I mean, we could do a bit of GeoGuessr. GeoGuessr would be nice and simple and easy on the old processor. Not my brain. It'd be very difficult on my brain, which is the other old processor. Rainbow Node. Oh, he's a chatty boy. I'm a chatty boy. But that might be a simpler alternative, and then we can just do at least a little bit. Because I'd like to stream a little bit. I'm really annoyed at that because it has handled some games, but I know the way certain games utilize the translation layer that allows games to play on MacBook. They're just not the most optimized. So I'm sure without streaming, Crusader Kings 3 would work lovely, but with the addition of streaming, no. Ethan, this is what the Twitch stream froze onto. Having a look. Ooh, incredible. Karen, we can't vote. We have no mods, and Tim doesn't know how Twitch works. I do. I can do a vote. I can set up a vote. I know what I'm doing. Do I know what I'm doing? Where has it gone? Clip. Stream info. Raid. Manage goals. A poll. Right, okay. New poll. What we do. So GeoGuessr. That's not how you spell it, but I don't know how it's spelt because it's spelt wrong for SEO reasons. Find stories. Or Gartic phone. Can we play that? I don't know. Kira, stop stirring shit in chat. And then, yeah, let's start that one. I don't know. Those are things I can think of. So remember, Dad, you do not want to do Gartic phone with chat, Tim. Don't I? Don't I want to do that, Rainbow Nerd? The royal we? What we do? So just let us know. Should we do some GeoGuessr? Should we just find some stories online? I mean, should I go on Reddit and go on the Am I the Arsehole section and we'll just discuss, you know? Obsessed, we could play Gartiphone, but you have to let me turn my PC on. Obsessed, contained in that the implication that I'm in some way stopping you from turning your PC on in any way. You have the power to turn your PC on right now, regardless of my opinion of the matter. Unless, of course, you accept the email I've sent you, execute the file enclosed, and just allow me to control your computer in the way that I would wish. In that case, I can decide whether or not your PC can turn on, because I'll just turn it off again. Remember that, Tim, you cannot control what people make. Pentel would not want this. All right, well then don't vote for Gartic phone. Or indeed, if it is voted for, I will ignore it. I should view the live results to see how we're getting on. And currently, it's Find Stories. Kira, it would be hilarious because all of us are bad at life. Folks Club Pal, everybody just find cursed fanfics. Obsessed, oh yes you are. Your cozy demeanour and chatty tendencies are imprisoning me into inaction. Well, I am both cozy and chatty. They call me the chattiest Coastmeister in all of England. Scotland and Wales have their own independent titles and voting boards, so I can't make any real claims on that score. Karen, the only cursed fanfics I know are not safe to read on stream. Vague, I should rewatch the My Immortal streams. They are fun. They are fun. Okay, so we want to find some stories. So now I've let people vote for that option. I should in any way think about what that would mean. Is there a good repository of such things? Or should I literally just go onto Reddit and find a good group and just make sure I read slightly ahead of what I'm saying so I don't say anything truly reprehensible? What? Remember, we could make time read Cursed Horny fanfics with random household objects. Am I the arsehole? Yeah. Talks about girl. I'm telling Pentel. Jane Munchkin, I'm so impressed by how flexible this Tim is being. I have to. We're not going on AO3. I do know about AO3. I do. Folks up, pal, you're not getting access to any of my secrets, deep, dark, or otherwise. I should change the stream information. And let's make it a just chatting stream. There we go. Oh, should I also... do I have in this particular computer any of my chill music? I don't know if I do. Warning, I'm about to introduce a source. The source is going to autoplay before I can affect its volume. So I'm going to click OK on a source in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where is it? Okay, well, that doesn't seem to be playing anything at all. God, what a big run up for absolutely nothing. Yeah, this has been. I think. No, I've only got morning soup, and you know what I could do? I could export a little loop from something I've been working on. Is this too complicated? Is this far too complicated? Is this far too complicated? Oh no, I haven't done this properly. I got so distracted by my three things. Moose, Christ save us, he's live. And we've already in real trouble because Crusader Kings 3 just did not work. But hello, Moose. FA Coffee, my AO3 is between me and the Lord. Remember that Tim does not need to know about AO3. Moose, he told me he was going to stream maybe and if at some point. Karen, nothing is too complicated if you dare to be an absolute clown. And I do dare. Oh, I dare. I dare bravely. Right, so what we need to do is we need to launch Logic for a start. I know that the selected interface is not available. That's fine. That's fine. This is something we accept. I could put this up here. And also Moose Pentel made it very clear that it was to be indicated to you that I deserve no sympathy or respect. So absolutely no change there. Okay. Is Logic Pro running in any meaningful way? Remember that I could give up on streaming, go to sleep, but I really want to see this chaos unfold. Yeah, I'm trying to launch Logic, and then export some music from it, and then upload it to OBS, and then play it in a loop as a nice bed, so we can then go on to do something else. Obsessed. My AO3 requires a mandatory visit if you're going to date me, or be my close friend, because I only want to be with people who know I'm a freak and still love me. Mermaid, wait, I've just realised you guys don't have Nightbot. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Folks, about trying to launch Logic, so a regular day for you. Ow. My heart. My heart and soul. You've hurt me. My self-respect is crumbling. My self-worth being nibbled away like rats a piece of cheese. Capri, this chaos stream has finally got me cleaning my house, so I call this stream a win. Thank you, and you're welcome, Capri. Versima, oh my god, you guys, we finally got it. Technical difficulties, the stream. It's all technical difficulties. Top to bottom, front to back, side to side, and radius around. Radius? Circumference around technical difficulties. It's a modbot thing. Is it good? Should we get it? Should we do that? I don't know. It sounds like a mods thing that they can handle, and if they want me to do it, I'll do that because they told me to. Mermaid, streams can happen without Nightbot or stream elements, but wow, props to the mods. So hard without it. But guess what self-respect you hang out with at least. What self-respect you hang out with? Oh, what self-respect, comma, you hang out with us at least once a week, and you keep me humble. Why is Logic not launching? Launch track Logic. Launch anything. Do anything. You launch every day. OBS can't be that. Oh my god. I can see the frames dropping as I try and launch it. God, the Mac cannot do OBS and any other thing. It's really an either or situation. Pezzigas, do not grammatically correct me, young lad. I will have to. If it's for the sake of me being able to read. Pezzigas, that's because it's a Mac. Oh, the Mac is great at many things. This is not one of them because it requires it to encode video, and it doesn't like it. At least not until Apple come up with their own special encoding thing. What do I have? Let's see what this is. I don't know if this is going to play for you. What even is this? Well, that's at the wrong tempo. But that's not what I was thinking of. We have this, which I really like. But I don't know if it's too... I don't know if it's too much for everyone's ears. Let's try this. Like, this is something I'm working on, which I really like. But it's not chill. Apparently this is very loud, so I'm turning it down. For us, I'm too happy for this stream. Fox got Eddie's Albert. I feel like I'm in a loading screen. Yeah. There's lots of weird little layers to it. And if I sort of mute things down, like it's just this. And a groovy little bass. And then 3 weird pianos layered. So we've got some backwards piano, which you can probably just hear in the background. The psychedelic energy piano. And then for the attack, a parallel earth piano. FBW, not chill, he says, like any of us ever cared about that. Jenny Munchkin, Tim showing off his project to his besties. That's nice. Yeah, so FBW, a backwards bowed piano. So if I get rid of everything except that, go away, go away. So that's the tech. So it's sort of like a backwards playing piano. Don't know how loud that even is. Basically, guys, it's bringing first school talent show vibes. Thank you. And then with things, and then a proper piano over the top. And you just add everything back in. Anyway, not that. Basically, guys, is this because of the dig I made about punctuation? Again, you sort of just trying to cut me down to size again. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Don't save changes. I want no changes. Eddie Sowboy, layers, Carolyn, musical onion, Ethan, it's tasty. Right. What's this? What's this? I don't know what this is. I can't remember doing this. When did I do this? It's quite fun. How is that? How is that as a piece in the background? Is that too much? No, I haven't. I did sort of make a shanty for LARP, but I didn't get to sing it, and I didn't record that one. I just wrote it. Fogcapass, you know, sometimes remember that Tim is an actual person, and that's always strange. Fake coffee cup, it's fine. It's fine. And what if I turn the tempo down? I turn the silicon black. There we go. I've turned it down to 97 BPM. Okay. Rathcam, I think we all listen and don't worry. Don't worry. Song at the beginning of the stream on loop for many minutes. This is fine. I know, Susan. It's a big Tim jump scare. Also, probably angle this down ever so slightly, so I'm not sort of weirdly high in the frame. Right. I'm going to leave this on, but I'm going to leave it low in the mix. Is that an okay mix for sort of just background music for whilst we're doing other things. Does this all work for us? Right. So now we're going to go to Reddit. Sonar and Penguins. Once in a while, I have a good thing. Hang on, what was this? Sonar and Penguins, did you? Because I don't think you know Ashanti if a sailor slapped you. Wow. 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 Remember, once it gets to 2M, I am going to stream. Basically, guys, I mean, at this point, Tim is more beard than man. I think that's what he's saying. Folks, are we really doing Am I the Arsehole? Damn. Well, that was all I could think of. And we can decide. I don't know why I'm zoomed in at 200% here. But I am going to go for all-timers. Basically, guys, come on, pick at the spelling. Resume, excuse you, Pezzy. Tim is also 50% cozy jumper, and we respect that. Basically, guys, I will fight you, tall boy. Right, let's go. Let's go top for the year. Let's choose a fun one. How do we know which one's going to be fun and not sad? These are the things. Shiny Happy Golf. I dug up the saga of Old Man Henderson. Would you like it? Yeah, if you've got a suggestion of a fun thing that somebody in chat already knows is not... Sorry, am I the arsehole for telling my husband he's too broke to be sexist? Oh, God. Oh, I'm dropping frames, am I? Let's guess, 1 frame a second, Timbo, is something. Let's make sure I'm still on the right network. Yeah, still on the right network. You know what? I'm going to close... Let me make sure nothing else is... Also, you know what? Let's close stream. Okay, Steam rather, not stream. Let's close Steam. Make sure that doesn't try and download something in the background. Just force quit. Also, let's, on Logic, let's bounce this chunk and export it. And then it can just be a file that's playing, which just makes everything a little bit lighter. Should we lose? I think we're going to lose the silicon plugs, just for the moment. We're going to bounce that. Oh, hang on. We are going to... How am I going to do this? Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Sorry, everyone. Live music editing. So that's 3 minutes of that. Zoom out. Select only that. Bounce that. Don't include audio tail. Why has it got that? There we are. There we go. Bounce that into our downloads folder. Ethan, you've been dropping frames, bestie. I know, but by the time I've noticed, who can say? Pezzy Chaos, it's like the frames are planks. We know you need them, but you aren't getting them. Oh, everyone, would you like to hear how much of a little witch fart cat was on Xmas Day? Yes, please. I want to hear about Fart Witch. Well, I almost certainly drop more frames because I'm bouncing something. I'm trying to do something so it'll be less labour intensive on the computer, but in doing that thing, it's very unhappy. So we'll just have to see. Hi, Perry! So, Penguins, how many times can you say, I know that sucks to someone when you can't help their situation, but they keep texting you about it? It's a boundaries question. It's sometimes when we have to be like, I can't discuss this with you anymore. My stance is clear. I've said what I can say about it. We're going to have to simply stop. And they might get cross about that. But that's something they just sometimes have to deal with. Pezzy guess, well, we took her over to Mr. Pezzy's for Xmas so she wouldn't be alone. His mum is terrified of cats. So, of course, Fast decides to wake her up on Christmas morning by sitting on her chest and cleaning her ass. They know. They can detect the person that they will upset the most. LBW, apologies in advance in case Iris storms across the keyboard. Storms. Like the beaches of Normandy. I hope you're at least getting my audio, if not my video, everyone. What we don't definitely need, actually. No, we do need that one. We don't need that one. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need the display capture. I'm just getting rid of things that might be slowing things down. I've nearly bounced this audio. Karen, audio has been consistently good for me at least. That's good. That's the main thing. Because the video is just my stupid face and this bit of curtain. You don't need that. You don't need it. Vague, I can hear you fine. Approximately 3 frames per minute. Talk about audio is good, video is man. It's alright, we can just crank the handle in. If we do it enough, it might make a video. Yeah, just get 3 or 4 Polaroids of me and just flip them around in front of your eyes enough. Verisma, Tim is in slow motion animation now. Thank you, Wrath of Khan. Kana, rather. It's a fine and soft jumper. I'm hoping once this audio has finished bouncing and I can just put that background audio on a little loop as a file, things should chill out. And don't worry, Shiny Happy Goth, I have got your Old Man Henderson web archive story. Okay, what is it? Okay. Shiny Happy Goth, can you give me a bit of a preview of what this is? Oh, stop motion. Sorry, stop motion. Oh, did anyone watch Vengeance Most Foul, the new Wallace and Gromit thing on Christmas? I did. I enjoyed it greatly. It was nice. Obsessed, while we're chatting to him, have you watched Arcane? Oh boy, howdy, yes. I liked it. I felt because it had to tie everything up, it was a season of chunks, and the end of it was very much just kind of desperately trying to get all of the bits together to try and kind of resolve things. But that's trying to resolve a big many character storyline in 2 seasons for you, but I enjoyed it great. And my gayest friends lost their fucking minds about it. And I got lots of all caps WhatsApp messages about it, shouting things like, they're gay, look how gay they are, look, they kissed, smoochy smoochy, banging the dolls together, all of this sort of thing. So I both enjoyed the series and enjoyed the meta-narrative of the gays and bis in my life just absolutely having a normal one over the various things that happened. Rainbow, I was like EP time, and then you said Arcane. Obsessed, it was a season of chunks, but I enjoyed all the chunks. Yeah, there was a second season, Captain Potato. It was good. Remember, I just got done with Arcane like 20 minutes ago. Karen, I'm not nearly British enough for Wallace and Gromit. Oh, you should be. It's one of the good things about Britain. Yes, Retro Bagel. Loved it. Loved it. No Arcane spoilers, please, chat. I'm only on episode 4. We'll keep it broad. Obsessed. The gays and bis have been feasting. They've been feasting in the feast hall. Feasting at the feasters' hall. Okay, that appears to have finished, so now we can quit out of Logic. We're not saving what we did to that, because I don't want that to be how my track is left when I come back to working on it. Go to downloads. Where is this thing that I literally just did? Why are you... Oh my god. I really don't understand you sometimes. It's like date added, but also I've sort of sorted it by size, but both. There we go. Right. There we go. I also asked a question of Shiny Happy Goth, and then didn't see if I got an answer. A minute, I'm going to lose my mind about the ending. Pazzy is right, the moon is made of cheese. Did Shiny Happy Goth reply? I didn't see. Also, let me know how the mix is on this, because how I hear it and how you hear it tend to be quite different. Mermaid, it's been this weird part of the internet where it's just Americans being confused about who Robbie Williams is, and everyone else in the world being like, you don't? Who? Kira, I had a dream last night about How to Train Your Dragon. I wanted to watch it today, but I decided that I'm going to save it for the New Year's, like I did last year when I set it so that the climax of Test Drive was at midnight, and it was epic. I don't know what Test Drive is. You didn't, because my mum called me and I didn't hear. Oh yes. Can you give me an idea of what the Old Man Henderson story is? Should I read it in full? Are people going to enjoy this? It's long. I know that. I just want a bit of a warning before I delve into whatever the hell this is. Is it something that people are going to enjoy, or is it something that is just neat interest to you? Because that doesn't make it less valuable. But before I launch into something this long... Kira Ratman, Test Drive is the big music part. Oh, of How to Train Your Dragon. I see. I understand now. It's a good film. And then it has the most amazing soundtrack of all time. Foxcroft, pal, you know what makes the least sense about you? How you are not a theatre kid. You just give me the vibes of one. I know. Not until university did I do anything even vaguely theatrical. I don't know. I was saving up. So Happy Goth, it's a very funny account of a player who accidentally figured out how to win at Call of Cthulhu. It's been a while since I read it, but I recall it being an absolute hoot. Foxcroft, like, what do you mean I can't talk about musicals with you? Well, I did recently watch the Legally Blonde musical, the 2007 MTV version that's on YouTube, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh my god, you guys. It's good stuff. Character Potato, what did you do before university then? I was a child, mostly. Short, uninformed. I'm now tall and uninformed. Yeah. No. Pezzy guess. Okay, I'm going to abandon Flipbook and Flipbook Tim and go play Indiana Jones. It's going well. Indiana Jones, so long and farewell. Bye bye. Fucked up, pal. You are so behind. Oh yeah. Like, I like Blood Brothers. Blood Brothers was good. What else? Into the Woods was fine. Les Mis was fine. I was also in that one weird film. Yes, thank you. Kira, I started doing theatre when I was like 10. Weak, Tim. Weak. Fox about. I mean, I've yelled about Epic with Nathan and Charlie, but still, I don't know what. Oh, Epic the film. Sean Happy Goth. Oh, I didn't put that on a loop. Loop it. There we go. I've not seen Fiddler on the Roof. Sean Happy Goth. On reflection, I don't actually know whether it'll be good or not, but it's pretty wild. It has been a while, as I've said. Let's give it a work. Good. Pezzigas, who the fuck is Indiana Jones? It's a Scottish equivalent. It's great stuff. He just calls somebody pal and then just punches him right through the window of an airplane into a propeller. Mermaid, I was the alternative version of a Nazi Farts kid. A band kid. I will see Fiddler on the Roof. I will. Remember that, Tim, you're going to make the theatre people so angry with your opinions. And again, often I've seen the film versions of these musicals. I saw Miss Saigon in the West End, and what it was crowd pleasing. I enjoyed bits of it greatly. It felt like a long running crowd pleasing musical. Sure. I've heard the soundtrack to Dear Evan Hansen a lot. I'd have liked to have seen Groundhog Day the musical, but I didn't get to see it. Right, so let's Shiny Happy Golf. Oh, I could get you some of Gallus Rostomagelis's anecdotes from Tumblr. Those are funny all the way through. I'm happy to give this a go. Obsessed. I'm still trying to find the motivation to watch the Wicked and Hades Town. The only musicals I've watched was Hamilton, and I've listened to Come From Away. It's not often I agree with Tim, but Tim's musical choices are sound. Thank you. Eddie Sourboy, I saw Groundhog Day musical at a community theatre. It was silly. Well, that's what you'd hope. That is what you'd hope. Right. Part 1. The origin of hang on. Fake Coffee Cup. Tim Gallus has my stamp of approval. Are we pivoting? Are there multiple people saying I should read that instead? Because it'd be terrible if I started reading something and then had to abandon it. Should we do that? I'm so indecisive. I'm so sorry, people. You shouldn't give me freedom. You should yell at me what I'm doing. Pezzy guess Beetlejuice the musical is my favourite. Ooh, I'd like that. I like Beetlejuice. I like Beetlejuice a lot. Kira, I'm in a community production of Oliver now, and it's wonderful. Eddie Sauber, I also saw the musical, the unauthorized parody of Saw. So in is Pirates of Penzance and 1776, my favourite musicals. Is the Pirates of the Penzance, I am the very model of a modern-made general. So on and so forth. Right, here we go. Here's one that has content warnings up front. Okay. Chicken law. The 1969 Easter Mass incident. Content warnings for religion, food, symbolic cannibalism, body of Christ, symbolic gore, penis mention, blasphemy, so much blasphemy, weapons, war mention, mind the warnings, injure health always comes first. It's a layer story, I promise. As always, all the names have been changed to protect people's identities. This is a long one, so press J now if you want to skip it. I'm going to do a mouth warm-up exercise so I mumble less of this. Turn down your volume if you want to avoid that. I have to do that before every gig I do so that I don't develop a lisp. Mid-show. Vile, I know. Very coffee cup. It's a very good tongue warm-up, unfortunately, that I have to do if I'm going to be reading, because otherwise I will just stumble over half of the words. It's that way, man, chewing on nothing on stream. What are you doing? It's where you move your tongue around the front of your teeth that way until it hurts, and then once it really hurts, you start going the other way, and then you massage the bottom because that's the muscles. Fox about turn down the volume, sir. I can see. Yes, it's tongue boot camp. Alpha BRW, exactly. It is tongue boot camp. Obsessed. I don't like watching Tim French's own mouth. Oh dear. Right. Okay. The 1969 Easter Mass incident. When my dad was a young man and still a practicing Catholic, he participated in a small church communion that nearly got him and 6 other people excommunicated. Father Patrick ran a small church outside of California Polytechnical and tended to be rather more liberal in his interpretations of scripture than most other churches were, which made him something of a hit with the local students and liberally inclined populace. Pat went to all manner of civil demonstrations, condemned the shit out of the Vietnam War and the politics that led to it, and so on. In January of 1969, a series of incidents led him to start exploring non-traditional means of holding Mass, and as a means of reaching out to his community and exploring his own faith, which ultimately culminated in the 1969 Easter Mass incident. For those of you that weren't raised Catholic, communion is this ritual where you become one with Jesus by eating a really horrible bland wafer cookie and taking a shot of wine, called hosts, which then literally become the flesh and blood of Jesus in your mouth, allowing him to become one with you. It's a big McFucking deal, and you have the opportunity to take communion at every Mass. All this had to be explained to me secondhand, because after this and Dad's 51 days in the army, Dad decided he wouldn't inflict religion on any children he might have in the future. Hey Dad, 6-year-old me asks for the first time he told me the story after my practicing friends were talking about getting wine at church. Isn't that cannibalism? We're getting to that, he waved. The first incident in January when, due to a serious cock-up by the church, all the hosts Father Pat received were mouldering and spoiled and probably would have killed someone if he'd actually fed anyone then. But it was the first Mass of the year when a peak number of people came in after vowing to go to church more for New Year's. He could not miss communion. I'll bake, offered Maria, the parish secretary and probably the best baker in the county. So we'll have hosts. Jesus will understand. He will. Father Patrick, not one to pass up the chance at Maria's cooking, immediately agreed. A host is supposed to be compiled solely of unleavened wheat, flour and water, which is why it tastes terrible. It's a theological point of some importance relating to Exodus or something, but Maria had an important theological counterpoint. Jesus is both divine and loves all his children. Ergo, Jesus would neither be a nasty bland cracker nor want his children to suffer as much, and so instead she made Mexican wedding cookies. Okay, good start. They were a spectacular hit. Many praises were heaped upon Father Patrick for the much better wafers, and that they'd be sure to show up next week as long as Maria kept making them. This might be why they don't do it, because then you're turning up for delicious cookies as opposed to delicious spiritual enrichment. Father Patrick figuring that, hey, anything that gets people in the doors is good, and really, if it was turning into Jesus once inside the parishioner, did it really matter what the wafers were made of? So he continued to let Maria bake the hosts, and encouraged her to try out new flavours, like nutmeg and cinnamon. This went on swimmingly for a few weeks until the bishop showed up for a surprise visit the same week Maria decided to experiment with rainbow sprinkles. Dad remembers hearing the bishop through the windows roaring, "The holy body of Christ does not contain rainbow sprinkles." The matter went clean up to the Archbishop, who decided that while Pat was probably right not to field spoiled hosts to his parish, he should attend some remedial classes to remember what communion was all about, so that if it happened again, he'd come up with a more suitable substitute. Father Patrick returned in late March, full of spite and some fascinating new ideas. Is this where the cannibalism happens? 6-year-old me asked, eager to get to the good parts. We'll take a pause. Eddie Sourboy, what if the sprinkles were just red for blood? Moose, you get one in Orthodox communion too, I think. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
Amy's
My dad
arrived.
just went into the kitchen to make a cup of tea.
Yes.
And he walked back into the room and he said, "Can I just say, I didn't think anyone could talk for as loud or as long as Tim is."
Am I unfortunately infesting the whole house with my voice?
It's just thin walls and floors. We can't hear what you're saying, but we can hear your voice.
Just wop, 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 wop. Hey Amy,
Yes?
if at any point you happen to be making a cup of tea...
Oh, Dad's just made one, you're a bit late.
Oh man.
You could plead with him.
Nah, it's okay. To be fair, I never make you cups of tea, so it's fine. She didn't reply. She didn't. Karen, Tim is a special kind of impressive. Where were we? Oh, Martin's here. Hello, Martin. At his remedial class, the teacher who had stressed the importance of transubstantiation, aka the bit where the wafer and wine actually literally becomes the flesh of Jesus Christ and we expect you to swallow. Also on the syllabus was the understanding of the importance of Christ's suffering and sacrifice. So, I was thinking about Easter service, said Father Patrick one afternoon while Dad was doing his computer science homework at the church because his dorm was a barely standing fire hazard and the library was where you went to have sex. Well, we do reenactments for Christmas. Why not on Easter? Why not reenact the crucifixion of Christ right here? Make it real for everyone. Trauma's great for bonding a communities together. Who's playing Jesus? Asked Maria, always one for a good laugh. That's the thing. A host doesn't look much like flesh, right? It doesn't look like much of anything really. Not great for reinforcing one's belief. What if instead we, and I mean you, Maria, I can't cook to save my life, make a man-sized loaf of bread, maybe in the shape of a T, and we have some of the boys dress up as Romans and whip the bread, and we pour the wine on so it's bleeding, and then we make a big wooden cross and actually nail the bread to it with, I don't know, railroad spikes, more wine all over, and then we raise the cross, all while telling the story of the crucifixion. He paused to take a drink, Maria slowly crumpling onto the floor in horrified laughter, and Dad now thoroughly distracted from his homework. Then we lower the cross and invite everyone who wants to take communion up to tear a hunk of Jesus off. Just descend onto his corpse like vultures. I think that'd be a really good bonding experience for the church. He nodded thoughtfully. The hard part, I suppose, will be finding enough Romans. I want to be Longinus, bellowed my father, barreling into the room. And so the plan was hatched. Dad hit up every other guy from church and eventually rounded up 4 more Romans, 3 of them from the education department of Cal Poly and 1 guy from chemistry who just liked to watch things burn. This, being a play, naturally meant there was a rehearsal and test bread Jesus. Maria had decided that if they were going to start being extra literal, she needed to make the most lifelike bread Jesus as possible, of course, and make it distressingly buff and human proportion Jesus by advanced bread braiding, complete with plaited hair, quail's egg and raisin eyes, bready muscle groups, and an 8-pack, because why not make the Lord completely shredded? She also made the important theological decision that since Jesus loved everyone, and he was going to die in spite of all of his suffering, he should be smiling, and he had a toothy corn kernel smile. He was wonderful and terrifying all at once. Yeah, a hunk of Jesus obsessed. Ask Martin, Jesus Christ. Fox about how anatomically correct is this bread Jesus? As anatomically correct as you like. Shiny Hepgoff Charlie Jesus. Maria, asked Father Patrick after a few minutes of delighted and horrifying cooing over Jesus' toothy grin and abdominals, why is he wearing a tea towel? Well, he's the son of God, a man, with all that entails, she said, pointedly staring at Father Patrick, while everyone just stared at suspiciously lumpy tea towel, and he might have burnt slightly. Everyone nodded and agreed that tea towel was the best course of action. The rehearsal goes splendidly, and everyone agrees that it's the most delicious Jesus they've ever had. Criminalite, is bread Jesus packing? I think he is. Easter Sunday arrives and the church is packed. From the more lapsed Catholics showing up for a high holiday, parents visiting for spring break, and a whole horde of newcomers who'd gotten wind that something was up and they ought to come. Dad is a lanky as hell 21-year-old, composed mostly of technical jargon and acne, but he's stoked to be playing Longinus, the Roman that speared Jesus on the cross, because he gets the best technical effect in the whole parade. Since he came in at the end, he missed a good portion of the sermon, but did hear the ooh from the crowd as the massive cross was dragged in by the other Romans, followed by horrified gasps and high screams and a discernible what the fuck as they brought in Bread Jesus 2.0, whipping him enthusiastically and hammering him onto the cross to the sound of wine splashing onto the floor loud in the terrified silence of that parishioner. Terrified silence of those parishioners. Finally, Father Patrick gets to the part about Longinus, and Bread comes in, sprinting down the aisle as hard as he can, because in order for Bread Jesus to be seen by everyone, the middle had to be about 10 feet off the ground. So Dad had to run, shrieking Latin curses down the length of the entire church with a big honking spear, and take a flying leap of Jesus in order to spear him in the gut. Please take a moment to imagine that you are some normal God-fearing Catholic who has decided to visit a little Bobby or maybe Patricia at college, and you've decided that you're all going to go to church together like a nice family, and this fucking madman has decided to go all Silence of the Lambs en masse, and now there's some sort of undead, translucently pale man in ill-fitting Roman armour and a cape flying at a horrifyingly glutinous effigy of your Lord and Saviour with an actual fucking spear, screaming like a madman. Don't feel yourself drawing closer to God already, defensively, perhaps like an octopus trying to ooze itself into a crevice against the horrors of the ocean? However, two things happened that were not planned on. One, Dad misses. In his defence, Bread Jesus is close to, but not quite the actual size of a man, more like the size of a doughy teenager, and his middle is a small target, 10 feet up in the air, and Dad has a computer science minor, not an athletics scholarship. He misses by about 8 inches, and instead very solidly stabs Bread Jesus right through the groin, leaving a big hole in Maria's tea towel and a spear jutting out at a decidedly attentive angle as Bread Jesus' dick drops to the floor with a splat. Nobody notices, however, because 2. In rehearsal, Dad had managed to get the spear right in Jesus' navel, but neither Father Patrick nor the other Romans could get the wine up there to make his needle appropriately bloodied. Maria came up with a genius solution that since wine is made of grapes and jam is made of grapes, she could make a jelly-filled Jesus for Dad to stab. There was a normal-sized test loaf, and when Dad stabbed it on the table, it had a nicely gooey, dribbling effect. However, this time the loaf was torso-sized, still hot from the oven and upright, so when Dad speared the very end of the loaf, all the steam-pressured jam had collected at the bottom, and a lukewarm spray of Smuckers is an American brand of jam, I believe, exploded out the front of Jesus' crotch, turning the first 3 pews into a splash zone of symbolic entrails. Oh, she has brought me a cup of tea because I was passive aggressive.
That my dad made for you.
Oh.
Shout thank you down the stairs.
Thank you, David.
Also, walking up the stairs, the first words that I could hear accurately were Jesus' crotch, so that was great.
It's good. It's a good story. We're enjoying it. That somebody crucified a Bread Jesus.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Not the Smuckers. There was a hot, sticky minute of complete silence in the church after that. Then Father Patrick indicated it was time for the cross to be lowered and continued on with the normal preparations of the host, he himself covered in hot Smuckers jam. As though nothing particularly out of the ordinary was occurring, quietly kicking the bread dick under the altar. And at the end of it all, Father Patrick invited everyone up with a last oration. Thou, O God, has kindly allowed to have a part in this holy sacrifice. For this we give thee thanks. Accept it now, thy glory, and be ever mindful of our weaknesses. Amen. And everybody came up, shuffling like terrified zombies, pinching off tiny bits at first, but then the madness took them, and they began tearing apart Bread Jesus by the handful, weeping as they partook, scattered prayers, and begging for forgiveness. The whole congregation was kneeling about the altar, tearful and united in their guilt and their need for God. Is church always like that? 6-year-old me asked, absolutely stoked. I'd convert on the spot if I got a show like that. No, it's normally bland wafers and lots of chanting in Latin, said my dad. Well, that's boring as hell. I remember Dad muttering and Dad snorting the coffee he was drinking out of his nose. As people filed silently out of the church to a gloriously sunny California afternoon, faces wan and smeared with wine and jam, Father Patrick turned to Maria and asked, "You don't think that was too much, do you?" "No," said Maria in a sarcastic deadpan so intense it was hard to tell from sincerity. It was the exact same tone she used when the Archbishop and 6 other high clergy showed up, clutching a letter someone had written, livid and almost foaming at the mouth, demanding to know if such a blasphemy has transpired. "No, that's crazy," she said, staring down at the Archbishop like he was an idiot. "Such imagination some people have," said Father Patrick, much less convincingly. "And you didn't spear an effigy of our Lord and Saviour?" the Archbishop demanded of my father. "Do I look like I can jump that high?" Dad asked, having in the interim been drafted for 51 days and then nearly died of pneumonia from it, and therefore no longer afraid of the church or the law of God. Somewhat relieved that he'd only received the extremely detailed ramblings of a doddering parishioner, the Archbishop sat down and complimented Maria on her most excellent Mexican wedding cookies, and may he please have another plate for his nerves, perhaps the one with sprinkles. Dad went on to help build the internet. Father Patrick converted to Buddhism, and Maria became a nun. For those of you wondering, Jesus was made of challah. Incredible. Incredible. Oh dear. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Shiny Happy Goth. I hope there's more. Hello, it's Meg Force. You join us during story time. We're reading stories. Yes. Are there others? Karen, this is 100% a Tumblr fake story, AK made up, but it's very good. Oh, of course. There's probably some elements. But yeah. Things that fun rarely happen in that entertaining a way, but I don't mind. Stories are fun. First about this is once more the time to promote the Trans Jesus book. I finally read it, and the second half stayed with me for so long. I've not heard of this. What is this? Him by Geoff Ryman. Interesting. Give it a read, people. Ask Martin, a good slice of life story. I try to pick off. Oh my god, there's so many. Gallus is a well-known Tumblr raconteur. Are they just on this? Have I got a home on this? Oh, they're doing a book. Tim, have you seen Conclave? Fuck yeah, I have. Go see Conclave. Conclave is great. Shiny Happy Goth and KTB, you are now the archivists of Gallus, so please link me to the next one. Here we are. Oh, okay, so that's just to the general one. I want you to choose one for me. I know, right? Criminal Land shit was so good. I loved it, and I loved almost all of the people in it separately before they came together in such a film. I love them even more during it. What is the name of the actor? He plays the head of the African congregation. He was in, I want to say, Black Earth Rising as well, and he was also in, I think, the National's production of Amadeus as Salieri. He's fucking great, but I can't remember his name. Who else? Oh yeah, it had what's his face in? A Touch of the Tooch, Stanley Tucci. So good. KTB, look for the family law tag. That's where the mad stories are. Family law. Oh, here we are. Vague. Read the content warnings and then decide if you want to read it. It's fucking amazing, though. Public School is a Goddamn Disaster Part 2. The Lovecraftian Madness of Machismo. I mean, should I read Part 1 as well? Says you don't need to, but you should. I might do Parts 1 and 2. Oh, hang on. No, there's a content warning in there that means I'm not going to. Okay. Content warnings for this. Mental illness, attempted murder, sexual content, stalking, abuse, animal abuse mentions, emetophobia, US public education, military-industrial complex. I've been told this is my most disturbing story ever, even if it's hilarious, so mind your health. All the names of the story have been changed to protect the innocent and not so innocent. Okay. We're just gonna have to accept that sometimes things are upsetting. And let's give it a go. This is the story of recruiting Sergeant Scott versus the lacrosse jocks versus your truly. To understand this story, you must understand the dystopian hellscape that is the US public high school. I went to the nice high school in town, with the AP curriculum and the new building, where the kids were generally too obsessed with getting into Ivy League to do anything worse than occasionally smoke on the roof. Not even weed, just regular cigarettes. During their off periods, they'd usually have time for breeze of their clothes and arrive to the next class early. You know, the most boring fucking kids ever. And still, we were subjected to the various scourges of US public education, namely on-campus police officers and regular what to do in case of a Columbine event drill. We had Officer Munoz, who was a wonderful Latina woman with a good sense to focus her efforts on getting kids away from abusive parents rather than persecuting brown kids, but we were very lucky on that front. Still, having somebody walking around with a gun and technically the authority to kill you and having to hide in the science cabinets 3 times a year fucks you up. Remember Officer Munoz though, she is important. A weird, cult-like, frankly masturbatory attitude regarding athletic achievement. The arts and science classes were stuck doing bake sales for supplies while the gym got redone 2 years after the school had opened. This was tempered in an odd way at my school, in that literally all the sports teams unequivocally sucked, with the exception of 1, the marching band, which went to nationals twice in the first 2 years the school was open, 2, Knowledge Bowl, where Kevin and I took the team to 3rd in state in our first year and only lost because Kevin had an asthma attack, and so we decided to let the other team fight over the lesser medals. Lacrosse, which didn't actually go anywhere but was a real sport and beat our rival school, so the team got to be the big men on campus and get away with all kinds of nonsense like eating in class when everyone else was forbidden or skipping tests for practice. The 3 worst offenders were Dustin, Jack and Rattlesnake Pete, all of whom were budding neo-Nazis and thus signed up for German with our Jewish teacher. Remember them too. On-campus military recruiters, as in the people who are legally allowed to exaggerate, manipulate and actually lie to minors to convince them to join the armed forces. Ours was named Sergeant Scott, and as much of a skeevy rat as he was, I honestly felt bad for him because remember, academic magnet high school, so he had 3 kids to work with. 3 kinds of kids to work with. 1. Kids who made the physical standards for the armed force and were all about honouring their country via physical labour, but were dumb as shit and so couldn't pass the written exam. 2. Kids who could pass the written exam were totally ready to bully some people in the third world but couldn't do a pull-up if you covered the gym floor in cobras. 3. Kids who passed the physical and mental portions but were unfortunately rabidly anti-military industrial complex to the point where 35 of them crammed into his cubicle in the office he shared with Officer Munoz and Janitor Wendy so they could hold a sit-in protest of the Iraq War and chant "Impeach Bush" and "War is murder" at him. Someone chucked red paint on him because they were furious, immature teenagers. It was his first day. Poor bastard. Remember him as well. Shiny Happy Goth. This one. Mermaid. Yes, I remember these experiences from high school. This story takes place during the 2006-2007 academic year, my junior year. My nerdy ass was already taking all AP courses and loving every second of it. Freak. I also had no natural aversion to adults, and we got talking to Janitor Wendy one afternoon, and I started rambling about how we were still going to be making GMOs in class. Barbie pink bacteria cultures, but still, kick ass. And she asked me how I was doing in that class. I got 106%. Miss Yeager gave out way too much extra credit, I said. Do you want to tutor me? Wendy asked. She and Officer Munoz were both taking night classes at community college, and by sheer coincidence, I was in the equivalent AP courses and 2 weeks ahead in their curriculum, so I started tutoring them both in my off period because, hey, it was the right thing to do, so I ended up in that office a whole hell of a lot. The problem is that while my 4'10" ass was too small to get into the armed forces, I was actually doing pretty well at weightlifting, because it was the one PE sport offered that didn't involve running. This, combined with my lack of immediate hostility to him, somehow convinced Sergeant Scott that he could totally recruit me, and he regularly barge in on tutoring sessions to give me pamphlets and lie about how much the army would pay me. Even after being told that I'm working with them now and not interested, he took to hanging out at the door and following me to class because a 6'4" Marine following a high school girl despite being told to fuck off isn't creepy at all. In a fit of desperation, I told him the lacrosse jocks might be interested, so he'd leave me the fuck alone. At first, it seemed to be working just fine. Dustin, Jack and Rattlesnake Pete were actually fairly bright in spite of being 6 flavours of bigot and determined to skate through school, and definitely passed the physical portion of the exam. Scott was thrilled with his buff nationalist and left me alone to explain telometers to Janitor Wendy. Then they started to, Dustin was first. Ego buoyed with the prospect of becoming a Marine, Dustin felt safe enough to start spouting racial nonsense in class, specifically asking Herr Feldstein what made the Nazis so bad really, and going, I'm just playing devil's advocate whenever he got called out for, genocide is bad, Dustin, killing all the black people in America is evil, you jackass. Then came the feelings of entitlement and invulnerability, grabbing at the cheer team when they were doing squats and couldn't slap him back, and jumping out the second-story window because I was bored. He managed to roll to avoid serious injury, but only missed the concrete by inches. This guy sounds like a fucking knob. Dr. Luke, why is Tim reading in a cozy sweater? The real answer is, why aren't you listening in a cozy sweater? Boom. Eventually, he took to racing his car around the parking lot during lunch at some 50 miles an hour, coming damn close to hitting other students. Officer Munoz ran out when Tiffany ran into the office crying because she was clipped. He was clipping the other cars and trying to kill squirrels now. When he responded by swiping at her, middle finger out the window, she got in her patrol car and blocked his way out of the lot, lights flashing. If nothing else, he'd run out of gas. Dustin stopped at the other end of the aisle, then revved the engine and drove straight for her. She barely had time to get out of the car before he T-boned her, totaling both cars. Due to the miracles of modern engineering like seatbelts, airbags and crumple zones, Dustin stepped out of the car apparently unharmed 2 minutes later, tore off his shitty giant armhole shirt, and proceeded to call Officer Munoz a slur I'm not going to say out whore, and then told her to S my big white D before lunging at her. Dustin might have been 6'2" side of beef filled with barbarian rage, but Officer Munoz was taught Taekwondo, and watching her flip and throw his ass into the asphalt to cuff him was the most anime thing I've ever witnessed in person. I swear time slowed down to show how fucking cool she was, and that the sun made its own lens flare to dramatise the moment she rolled him over the shoulder before slamming into the parking lot and cuffing him. Half the school ran over out to watch her arrest him, and for once the rumours were only half as insane as what actually went down. The next day, I was explaining the Sumerians for introduction anthropology class. The next day, whilst I was explaining the Sumerians for her introductory anthropology class, Sergeant Scott came in to bargain on Dustin's behalf. He's a good kid. He just needs guidance. You don't really have to testify, do you? He tried to kill me, Scott. Look, I'm just trying to make my quota, and I'm just trying to eat lunch and do my homework. Go file something. Jack went next. LVBLW, I'm only getting half of this. Is that because I'm reading it badly or it's dropping out? Oh, Lincolnshire issues. Dr. Luke, my cozy sweater is in the wash as I just got back from phase. I hope you had a lovely time. Dr. Luke, I should get my washing out. Bay Coffee Cup, you're reading so fast. Oh, sorry, I will slow down a bit. Sorry, this is... That's internal Tim reading speed. I should slow it down a little bit. It's because I'm excited to find out what the story is. I'll slow it down. Seriade, it's the Tumblr posts of Gallus Rostromonogalis. Gallus Rostromonogalis. I don't know. Jack went next. Jack had always had this habit of eating peanut butter during class. Like, he'd literally pack a jar of Jif and a spoon with him and just start chowing down it during class. Officially, nobody was allowed to eat during class, but somehow the lacrosse team got away with it. They're growing boys, like the rest of us weren't going through puberty too. So he'd be sitting there slurping on his peanut butter while my blood sugar spiraled into the basement, and I'd be close to passing out by the time lunch came. But I digress. Jack sat immediately to my left in German because Herr Feldstein had hoped putting between him and Dustin might make them better students. It just made them yell louder and cheat off my tests. So I'm sitting in German, trying to remember how to conjugate ein as per genders in case for a test I had. As per genders and case for a test, and I heard Jack's zipper opening. I'd already had a regrettable experience with flashes in elementary school, fucking hell, and I can remember stopping halfway through a sentence about give the dog a bone because my pencil snapped from me rage gripping it. Now wait, I tell myself. Maybe that was his backpack I heard. Slowly, I turned to look, like an idiot. It was not his backpack. It took me a minute to realise what the fuck he was doing, because at first, it looked like Jack had taken out his peanut butter and then started having a seizure. Then I realised, with the slow, draining horror of someone who did not need this shit, that Jack had decided, for some unfathomable reason, that in the middle of a German test was a good time to whip out the D and F his jar of Jif, like some kind of creepy vegan fleshlight. Okay. Dr. Loop, I did. It was mostly very chill, and we tidied up the garden. Nice. It was not normal public peanut butter fucking, if there is such a thing. He was staring dead ahead at the whiteboard, completely zoned out and seemingly unaware of his surroundings, even as the rest of the class became gradually aware of the unsettling organic noises coming from the back of the classroom and turned to stare horrified. Herr Feldstein was 67, deaf as a post and absorbed in a game of solitaire, and therefore blissfully unaware of the literal nut-busting occurring. Jack, I asked in the drawn-out inflection one uses when trying to determine if the dog has rabies before you go right for the shotgun. Jack didn't respond. I got up, stepped out of his swinging range and threw my razor at him, still fucking his peanut butter. Fraulein, Herr Feldstein asked, finally noticing some was amiss. Warum bist du aufstehend? Sorry, I have no German. Jack is masturbiering mit seiner Erdensbutter, I explained, not about to violate the no English rule. What? Yelled Herr Feldstein, abandoning it and scrambling over as fast as a man with two bad hips and gout can, and slamming his hands on Jack's desk. Jack still completely failed to respond. I looked at Herr Feldstein, who was very sweet but arthritic dumpling of a man, and at Jack, who is a hormonally charged and apparently psychotic tractor-trailer of a human being. I'm going to get Officer Munoz, I told him, handing him my AP Bio book. The heaviest one I had. If he starts freaking out, hit him with this. Hi, Officer Munoz. Jack is fucking his jar of peanut butter upstairs. Also, I think he's having a psychotic episode. It's a really bad way to start off a Monday if you're the school cop, and way worse to start if you're the janitor, but Sergeant Scott was clearly the victim here. I'm sure it's just a joke, he gasped, desperate not to lose any more of his precious recruits. Boys will be boys, and his dick is some jelly and 2 pieces of bread away from being a fucking sandwich, Scott, I said. Scott decided to come along with Munoz to investigate anyway. I'll never quite forget the look on his face as he entered the room as Jack finally reached his legumy climax, sputtering out dirty talk in a strange nasal coughing voice. It was like listening to Porky Pig call someone a dirty, dirty slut, and I don't think Scott or anyone else present ever got over it. Scott's was the face of a man having picked up The Lord of the Flies and realising far too late that it was not a book about entomology. He had to help Officer Munoz prise Jack's peanut butter and gum-covered hands off the jar so they could cuff him and haul him down to the office. Okay. Seriade, whose story idea was this? Vague. Mine. Seriade, I should have guessed it was you, Vague. All of this managed to happen prior to the Thanksgiving break, and I was present when Rattlesnake Pete joined his friends in the never getting recruited for anything Tartarus. I was going over the preparatory diagrams for a snake dissection with janitor Wendy when Pete's dad came in and plopped down in front of Scott's desk. Pete was standing nervously behind him. Mr. Pearson, said Scott, looking ecstatic, are you here to sign Pete's release forms? My boy can't join the army, grunted Pete's dad. Well now, Mr. Pearson, there's no reason to be hasty. Let me explain the opportunities available to Pete. He lied to you. He can't join because he's a felon. Wendy and I stopped mid-kidney, slowly turning like a pair of gossip-hungry owls. Scott froze, fake smile hardening in an effort to avoid collapsing like a deflating clown, but it didn't work. Pardon? Explain, Pete, grunted Mr. Pearson. Last year, Go on, Pete, Scott said encouragingly. We can work around these things. No, said Mr. Pearson. Not this one. And here I'm thinking Pete had murdered someone when we were in love, you monster, Pete screamed at his father, bursting into tears. What? That was a fucking diamondback, Pete. Snakes don't love people, and they sure as shit don't want your damn dick, except maybe as a snack, Mr. Pearson hollered back. What? You homophobic, Dad. Vor is a way of life, and it's who I am. What? I'm sitting frozen, in place, like a rabbit, as Wendy mouths, "What's for?" at me, and I have to decide real fast how much I'm willing to admit, because on the one hand, deny all knowledge of the darker bits of the internet, on the other, Wendy, you don't understand how bad this boy done fucked up. What's for? Asked Scott anyway. It's when you're ready to sacrifice everything for the one you love, screamed Pete. Idiot wanted a snake to eat him, so he tried to feed himself to it, dick first, Mr. Pearson explained. Wendy and I simultaneously looked down at the snake diagram as she quietly stuffed her fist into her mouth and crumpled to the floor, the madness of the situation having undermined her structural integrity. At the other desk, Officer Munoz had pulled out her rosary and was holding it up between her and Pete. I turned to my seat and watched this unfold. Time for subtlety long gone. Scott seemed caught in some sort of temporal bubble of insanity, where each less second lasted millennia, leaving him to suffer as the full stupidity of what Pete had done broke over him in waves. His face went to a total lack of comprehension, then slowly contorted into disgust, then into deep spiritual horror, shoving back from his desk in his wheelie office chair. Rage as he kicked it back, recoiling and shoving the papers and landline on his desk to put something between him and Pete. Finally, despair, crumpling back onto the file cabinet like those paintings of wretched Lucifer thrown out of heaven, as he realised that there was absolutely no way they could work around this. There was a moment of silence, broken finally by a loud sob from Sergeant Scott. "Yep," drawled Mr. Pearson with that deep, hollow tone of an empty well. "Look, I didn't need a dick to shoot. Look, I don't need a dick to shoot, right?" Pete tried. "What?" gasped Scott. "I think you need to go to class now," said Officer Munoz, still clinging to her rosary. I quietly got up, feeling the desk shake as Wendy finally caved and began to laugh like a small earthquake. I packed up my bag, lingering as Scott sat down, hands clutched in front of his mouth like he was praying to a god whose existence had just been thrown into doubt. But before more could be said, left before more could be said. AP Human Geography was next. I rather liked Miss Greer, and I decided not to interrupt her class, and I instead went up to the roof to laugh for like 45 minutes straight. Hello, Fyodor Dostoevsky. I love your work. Fucked up. I'm so confused. Who was he in love with? The snake? I think so. Jesus, I just felt a stab in my tit. Am I having a stroke during this? I hope not. Is there somebody else in the house that can check on you? Fires Creek, what a wonderful time to join. Hello all. Hello. Fires Creek, what is this? It's a story. It's a story we're reading from Tumblr. Vague coffee cup. Tim, how are you holding up? I'm having a lovely time. I'm aware that a lot of you are viewing a very slow slideshow. Well, I don't know why I construct so many tongue twisters for myself. A very slow slideshow. The felony will be animal abuse. If you put your gentleman's member forcibly into the mouth of a snake, regardless of whether or not that snake then tries to bite and kill you, that's not. Once you go to the hospital and explain what's happened, then the police get involved because you're not allowed to do that to an animal. I'm good, Vague. I'm good. Oh no, these were separate. So the peanut butter jar, different kid. First kid was racist road rage. Second kid was peanut butter lover. Third kid. Oh my god, why are there balloons? What happened? I did this and there were balloons. What just happened? Did everyone just see this? What the fuck was that? I don't know what just happened. Was it this? It's that, okay. Okay, whenever we want to emphasise a point, we can do... we can do... Okay, the story continues. My merriment was short-lived. Thanksgiving break was barely more than an extended weekend, and winter breaks always started late, so I was at school for a good 3 weeks between them. And for a bit everything was calm. Aside from the lacrosse team, my school was aggressively sober and academically dedicated, no more so than during the time leading up to finals. Scott, however, having run out of options with the recruitment deadline looming, suddenly renewed his interest in me as a potential target with a distressing fervour. He effectively began to stalk me. Other students had the good sense to scream and throw books at him, but I came from a house where you did not yell, ever. And this was a disadvantage. He insisted on walking me to class. Every class. If I wasn't tutoring during off period, he'd come to find me in the library or art room and forcibly engage me in conversation, mostly talking about how great the military-industrial complex was. At the time, I couldn't drive and was effectively stranded on campus. After seeing him pull my headphones off, the band and theatre geeks noticed I was in trouble and offered to let me hide in their secret access tunnel under the band room, or the orchestra pit under the stage. Bless them. I complained about this at length to Munoz and my mother and any other adult who would listen, and if there was another adult present, he'd back off, lurking just outside the room. The second they were gone, however, he returned, bursting into my personal space. Munoz had her hands full with trying to keep weed and heroin dealers off campus, and the admins refused to do anything, as they were being paid to let Scott recruit. I'm a difficult person to make angry. Anger, for me, is an emotion held in reserve for emergencies, partly because it literally makes me sick, and partly because it makes me very, very prone to violence. The week before winter break, he managed to make me angry. I was at home with the dog, and my parents were out doing errands, and my sister at a friend's house. It was Saturday, cold and windy and grey, like early December usually is, and I wasn't expecting anyone home for another 3 hours, when I heard the back door open. We live in a neighbourhood in the middle of the country, full of old people and virtually no crime, so we never locked it, if someone was home and I heard someone come in. Cody, a gentle, angelic German shepherd, scared of mice and utterly useless as a guard animal, and I nearly went downstairs when I heard him call. "Anyone home?" Scott called. The son of the bitch actually broke into my house looking for me. I went in my sister's room, grabbed the fire poker she kept in her room. It was Grandpa's solid iron and an interesting fleur-de-lis shape, so that it would have done a great job knocking someone's brains in if need be, and shoved the dog out the window onto the roof, climbing after him. We went round part of the roof to the part of the roof you couldn't see from the driveway and waited. I couldn't hear him leave, and so we waited up there for 3 hours, waited for 3 hours up there, shaking in the upper 30s weather, Fahrenheit, with the terror rage until I heard my mum come home. Cody, bless him, sat guarding me the whole time. She was beyond furious. He left at some point, but not before leaving a note in the kitchen telling my parents to call him and talk some sense into me about the military. We'd explicitly opted out of letting him contact us ages ago. He wasn't even legally allowed to call the landline. I remember Mum, white-faced and shaking, calling the police and being furious when they said it was okay for recruiters to come over, ignoring the bit about the opt-out. "You're not going to school until he's gone," she said. I was an academically obsessed idiot at the time and objected, but finals are next week and I have straight A's. She stared at me, then agreed. "Fine, but you keep your phone on and on you at all times. Fuck school policy. If he so much as looks at you funny, I want you to get off as Munoz. I will come over so you don't have to spend off periods there." "Yes, Mum." I spent the next Saturday and Monday on anxious edge, stomach roiling with anxiety, and managed to pick up a cold from the stress through a combination of hiding in the orchestra pit and Tiffany volunteering to spot her for me. I managed to avoid Scott all Monday and most of Tuesday. Unfortunately, he found me on my stealth mission to drop off Officer Munoz and Wendy's over-break notes, and blocking me from getting out the offices. Literally standing in the doorway and thrusting papers at me. "I need you to sign these," he said. "What's this?" I said rather than asked. I knew damn well what the recruitment contracts looked like. "You need to sign these or you can't graduate," he said, looking pale and hungry. My stomach went from a low-grade nervous churn to an amped-up rage boil, and it was all I could do to swallow behind gritted teeth, trying not to show up. I focused on my backpack instead. Look, it's really important, okay, he tried. If you don't sign these, your family could get investigated by the FBI, he lied. I considered my options. He was 6'4" and there was no way I could get through the door without him grabbing me and God knows what. The cafeteria behind him was deserted and neither Munoz nor Wendy was there to help. There was plenty of pencils lying around, but I didn't want to go through the ordeal of a murder trial. The fluorescent lights flickered as the school got buffeted by winds of an oncoming blizzard. I gagged, barely managing to keep the bile down. You owe me, he said, stepping closer. After what happened to Dustin, Jack and Pete, you fucking owe me. I decided it wasn't a conscious choice, really, so much as I knew what was going to happen and how I could escape. I turned, stepped up to him, and when he tried to give me the papers, I reached up, grabbed him by the ears, pulled as hard as I could, kneeing him in the stomach and bringing him down to my eyeline. Then I projectile rage vomited directly into his face. I had not realised at the time that he was emetophobic. Scott collapsed on the floor, screaming and clawing at his face. I instantly felt better and calmly stepped over him, walking out of the cafeteria and through the front door. The front desk lady made a small squawking sound, like she was about to object for me leaving. I looked behind me and realised she'd seen the whole thing from where she was sitting, including Scott, still writhing on the floor. You didn't try and stop him, I said, staring at her. She'd tell me later that I looked like I was ready to strangle her, and honestly, I was. I'm going home now. Then I walked out the door and 2 miles up the road to the Panera, got myself one of their elaborate hot chocolates and called my mum to get me home. There was an awful lot of angry phone calls between my parents and the school over break, and talk of transferring me or finishing my GED at home. On Christmas Eve, the very tall gentleman in the large hat who is technically the family lawyer drove out to the school district office and the phone calls abruptly stopped. I was too busy puking my stomach out that week to get the details beyond, "Don't worry, he won't be back." When I came back to school 4 weeks later, there was a new recruiting sergeant, Jason or James or something. I don't know, because our sole interaction was as follows. Recruiter leaning over the cubicle as I'm trying to explain the basic tenets of Buddhism to Officer Munoz for a history class. "And what's your name, little lady?" Me, looking up. "My name. I have an opt-out waiver on file." Recruiter, "The one Scott said, you know, I've got something else to do, yeah." At which point he went back to his desk and started playing solitaire and never spoke to me again. Hooray for defeating Scott. Right in the face. Fyodor Dostoevsky, I also want to drink hot chocolate. The more elaborate the better as well. Recruiting agents at schools, America. It's mad. It's a mad thing, even in the insanity. Well, you know what? We sort of do have it in the UK, but in the form of the cadets. So at lots of secondary schools, you have the cadets, which is essentially like the junior branches of the Navy, the Air Force and the Army. And during sort of extracurricular periods, people basically do young military. So, but I don't think they do the whole sign a contract thing. I would imagine we have rules against that. Because we are both a nationalistic country, but also a country that gets very, very weird about people being overtly aggressive about, you know, doing stuff like that. Obsessed, the balloons of the Mac, I think. It's true. We found them by accident, 71 penguins. I wonder if there are others. What about if we do this? Is that gonna... Yeah, that works. What about if I do that? A-okay. Does it know that one? It knows that one. I find that so fucking amusing. Merry Maid, yeah, we had those during certain times of the year, and they're only allowed little tables in the cafeteria. They sat next to the colleagues, next to the colleges with their pamphlets for the seniors graduating that year. Foxtrot Pal, in Austria, boys still have mandatory service. As a girl, I got a lot of letters about a girls' day. Come and join us. obsessed. Here in France, until we had Macron, we had one day of Citizenship Day where you had to learn about what the military does and why you should join them, plus basic first aid. KTB, if you're under 18, you have to get your parents to sign too. Oh, Serie A, UK here. We had army work experience as an option, and yeah, the military come in and show us the helmets and various things. Yeah, it's a lot less full on. Nobody's based out of the school and follows you around and sort of has a campaign. LVW, never had to deal with recruiters because I was overweight and asthmatic. Thumbs up. I was also in the class of 685 or something. Oh, hang on. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Yeah, there we go. So we've got thumbs up. We've got heart. And we've got balloons. If anyone else wants to look these up and find others, very exciting. The people who are doing this, I forget. Veresim, I think, was one, and Goth was another. If you have another story, these are fun. I'm enjoying these greatly. What is Foxbab? I think 2 thumbs up does something else. Oh yes. It also gives you HDR, like it does the dynamic sort of white balance shift. Incredible. Vague, I guess I'll go fuck myself. Now, I knew there was other people, Vague, but I couldn't remember, and Vague as well. But also, Vague, you can go fuck yourself, but that's just unrelated. That's just because I want you to have a nice Christmas to New Year break. KTB, my Christmas decorations are all away. Time to vacuum them. Oh, 71 penguins. This leads them all. Okay. FaceTime. It's weird. We're not even using FaceTime. I've no idea why this... Okay, heart emoji. 2 thumbs up. Single thumbs down. 2 thumbs down. Oh, sad. Peace sign with 2 hands. Confetti. The rock on sign with 2 hands. Quite. KTB, then I'll make brownies with peppermint frosting. Velicop, this one was a suggestion from Shiny. Okay. This one is called... I think we'll make this our final one. Because we have been going for an hour and 50, I think. Crispy, help. Please someone clip this. This is so fun. Thanks about Tim. You should do all the streams on the Mac in the future. Fuck no. Fuck no. And not one of you spoke up. He's right. We're cowards. The van has officially declared its spooky season. I got my parents' van for the week, and it seemed determined to establish my status as local cryptid by terrorizing an innocent 7-Eleven clerk. I might need to back up a bit. So Penguins, only 2 hours, and most of it was trying to close out of Crusader Kings 3. LFBW, just surprise Sam with it. My mother is an eminently sensible woman who knows herself well, and when the plague hit, she knew she'd need some sort of mentally and physically engaging craft project to keep herself from going insane and massacring the local zoning and water management boards, even if they had it coming. So she and Dad acquired a utility van and converted it into a camper van because while they love camping, they're past the age where their joints and immune systems will tolerate sleeping on the cold ground in a nylon tent. They did a terrific job of it, and my mum taught herself woodworking and carpentry, and now the van has its own cabinets, foldaway dining table, and removable queen-size bed with memory foam mattress. My dad was already a computer engineer, but he learnt the dark magics of automotive software and electronics to install aftermarket backup cameras, a media player that would take a terabyte hard drive, and a solar-powered battery and outlet so they could wake up, just turn the kettle on, and griddle for breakfast without having to exit the van into a cold morning on an empty stomach. Though whenever cooking, you should open a window due to the dangers of carbon monoxide. Although if it's electrically done, then it's more just smoke insulation problems if you burn things. Truly, the height of camping luxury. My parents are both in their mid-70s, and my primary life goal is to be at least half as cool and hale as they are when I get old. Anyway, they take it out at least a dozen times a year, and it works fabulously, but being as I am on good terms with my parents, and also finishing the process of moving house, I've been borrowing it to move large and cumbersome objects that will not fit in the back of my equally lovely but minuscule Honda hatchback. It's a great van. Very easy and comfortable to drive, stunningly good miles per gallon for its size, the best cruise control in a car I've ever had. It's also quirky, mischievous even. If this van has a fault, it is that it bears an unfortunate affliction that all lightly used white utility vans have, in that the combination of an utter lack of branding features and a large dent/scrape I accidentally put on it whilst trying to escape a Denny's last Thanksgiving means that the vehicle has one edition of badly spray painted free candy on the side of it for means that this vehicle is one edition of badly spray painted free candy on the side of it away from being the sort of vehicle you'd see in an edgy horror movie. It's got the same issue that Doberman dogs have when they look like the sort of creature that likes to snack on a toddler's face whilst actually having the personality made of marshmallow fluff. The vehicle is unnecessarily menacing, and I think nothing short of an airbrushed epic van wizard will correct this. People see this van pull up and lean over and squint suspiciously at me when the driver's side door opens, and then look moderately confused when, instead of Charles Manson, a small potato-shaped creature with neon purple hair and a statistically unlikely assortment of dogs emerges. My own two dogs, Herschel the Hanukkah Goblin, Corgi, and Charleston Chew the Taco Dumpster Dog. Herschel the Hanukkah Goblin Corgi and Charleston Chew the Taco Dumpster Dog do not like the van. Even with the bed in it, they have a tendency to slide and roll around in the back and will both chew through dog safety belts or other attempts to secure them there. On the other hand, my housemate's dog, an exceptionally tall standard poodle whom we lovingly call the Creature, loves the van because she wears a doggy seatbelt with only mild complaining and gets to sit up in the passenger seat like a peephole. Also, like a peephole, the Creature likes to stand and walk around on her hind legs. It doesn't hurt her, and this is entirely voluntary, but every so often I will feel a hand on my arm, and instead of my husband or friend, it's a canine that's taller than I am on her hind legs who wants to stare at my face with her soulful concerned eyes. The Creature's favourite thing is that she is exactly the right height for me to hold her arm in a genteel fashion and walk around the pet food or hardware store with her like I'm a count escorting a debutante around a ball. Incredible. Ink St. Danny, hey everyone, I'm back from another tediously extended family experience. Is Tim reading Tumblr posts now? I am. Oh, Tim, that is American Sign Language for I love you. The rock-on doesn't have the thumb. I see. Oh my god, because I'm looking at video of myself, it really confused me. And I had to rework out my fingers. The dogs seem fun. As it stands, I am set to inherit this vehicle whenever my Honda gives up the ghost. Burping. And I fully intend to paint an epic van wizard on it when the time comes. The other peculiarity of the van is that while Dad did manage to successfully install his aftermarket electronics, not all the electronics get along. Sometimes they fight for dominance. The terabyte music player and the backup camera have a particularly contentious relationship, and turning on the music has about a 25% chance of turning on the backup camera as well, and turning on the backup camera is equally likely to turn on the music. Furthermore, the van has a favourite song. I'm not kidding that Dad filled an entire terabyte hard drive with music and software to sort it into sorted via the radio controls, but all of the early boomer dad rock, Kingston Trio over the Eagles, and Irish folk and symphonies, and the entire discography of Weird Al Yankovic, the van's favourite song. Oh, there was an incredible run on sentence there. It's got lots of, but of all the early boomer dad rock and Irish folk and symphonies and the entire discography of Weird Al Yankovic, the van's favourite song is, and the one that it picks to play as victory music every time it beats the backup camera at their weird electronic game of rock, paper, scissors, is the Liberty Bell March by John Philip Sousa. You know the song already, but in case you forgot the tune... And I'm going to stop it there. Oh, hang on, one more bit. It's the Monty Python music. Moose, I'm going to bed. Have fun. Night, Moose. The van's favourite song is the goddamn Monty Python's Flying Circus theme tune music. It does not play this song at a normal volume. Every time I turn on the backup camera, it manages to turn the music player on as well. The van insists on absolutely blasting this nonsense on at maximum volume. It is the maximum volume it is physically capable of producing, which I know is loud enough to be heard from the Denver International Airport's pickup zone when the van decided to start playing it from the economy lot about half a mile away. Perhaps it's the van's way of honouring the aesthetic sensibilities and sonic enthusiasm of Mr. Sousa. I can't help but wonder if the purpose of an epic van wizard is to control this sort of fairy-like malarkey, and channel these chaotic energies into things like the spell of Don't Break Down in Nevada or enchantment of Always Have Good Parking. So, last Friday the 13th, I get a call from my friend and housemate at said airport. Pausing because of a highlight message, LVBW have an incredibly accurate video of vets imitating the dogs they see. I would like to save this for later. Thank you. So, last Friday the 13th, I get a call from my friend and housemate at said airport. It is roughly 11 PM at night, and I have already retired for the evening. I am in the exact minimum of clothing required to be a decent housemate and not scandalise the neighbours should I happen to walk by a window. My feet are up. There is a cat in my lap, and the fictional British people murdering each other in highly inventive fashions on the TV. But my friend has returned from her friend's wedding, and either American or United Airlines has managed to lose her luggage, including, among other valuable possessions, the keys to her car. So she cannot drive her car home as originally planned. Who puts their keys in their luggage? I know things happen. Who puts their car keys in their luggage? They're on travel day. They're in pocket. They're in pocket where they live in pocket. Sure, they might live in bag during holiday, so they stay in hotel. But on travel day, they in pocket. Channel chat, please look at my art. Loving the goblins. There are, as luck would have it, a spare set of keys not 8 feet from me. Being a good and decent person, I agreed to bring the spare keys to her so that she may get home before daybreak and not spend a semester's worth of tuition on an Uber across the greater Denver traffic jam. Being also that she loves activities and it's her mum we're going to pick up, I elect to take along the creature. Hang on. We're picking up her mum. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm primarily focused on remembering how to get to the airport and not leaving my friend's spare keys on the counter, so I throw on a pair of flip-flops, step outside, and remember that it's autumn, and my minimal evening attire is not sufficient thermal protection, so step back in and grab the first coat in the closet I lay my hands on. I pull it on, check that I have her keys again, and leave. The trip to the airport is largely unremarkable, save that it becomes necessary for me to put on sunglasses to drive, despite it being nearly the witching hour and almost entirely darker than the inside of a cow. It is next necessary because of the blissful darkness of night is violently punctured by a startling number of cars that seem to have installed miniaturized but no less powerful lighthouse bulbs where their headlights ought to go, and so the oncoming traffic and sports cars that insist on tailgating me in the slow lane alike illuminate the road and my mirrors with a kind of radiance I'd normally associate with the arrival of Seraphim. I arrive at the distant, highly discounted airport car park lot where my housemate is waiting, deeply apologetic. It's nothing, I say. Once I see that your car starts up, I'm going to go to that 7-Eleven across the way that I parked in front of, get a Slurpee or something, and I'll see you at home. While she is retrieving her vehicle, an equally eccentric but more stately Subaru that is old enough to have been elected to Congress, I rifle through my loose change in the glove box and discover that I have exactly $6.66 in small bills and coins. The Subaru, continuing its long voyage into vehicular immortality, immediately starts up. Upon her return, we all remember that my friend had all her camping gear in the backseat of my car, and there's no room for Creature to ride home with her parent, so I again assure her that it's nothing. I will just take Creature into the 7-Eleven with me. She is trained as a service animal and needs practice after the plague. I wave my friend, I'm assuming it's COVID. I wave my friend off and turn and enter the 7-Eleven. I promptly trip over the jutting back bumper of the van and fall cartoonishly face first onto the sidewalk. Fortunately, I have a lot of practice falling on my face and have learned not to throw my hands out, but instead cover my face, so my unexpectedly self-inflicted attempt at curb stomping lightly scrapes my hairline and nothing else. My sunglasses even stay in place, and I get up to resume my quest for a Slurpee. It is well known that the airport is a lawless place, and the 7-Eleven across from the discounted airport parking at the stroke of midnight is no exception. I know it's the stroke of midnight because there's one of those Audubon Society bird call clocks that makes bird noises. I've never heard of this. Audubon? Audubon. I don't know. And my arrival is heralded by the twittering of a summer Tangier. I'm almost charmed enough by the unusual choice of chronological device to excuse the orbitant airport adjacent markup of the Slurpee prices. I stand at the machine for some time trying to decide on a size for the price and guess what the fuck Blue Lightning Blast is supposed to taste like. The Creature is being very polite, but is somewhat agitated. I assume because she's just saw her mother for the first time in 3 days, and then she left with no explanation. So the Creature is on her hind legs, staring woefully into my eyes, asking to be escorted around the 7-Eleven, even though that's not what she's supposed to be doing. There's nobody else there, so I let her hang off my arm and discuss various Slurpee flavour options with her. We eventually decide on an experiment, which is I try a small Blue Lightning Blast and discover it tastes a bit like licking a Nintendo cartridge, but in a pleasantly satisfying way. Oh dear. Oh dear. I go up and pay and realise something is amiss. The cashier is a young man staring at me with wide eyes, and one hand over the register and the other wrapped up in his rosary. I look down at myself. In my haste to reunite my friend with her spare keys and service animal, I had left the house in the following accoutrements. Flip-flops. Not matching. It is below freezing outside. That last part is not particularly odd footwear for the weather in Colorado, but it's an important detail for the rest of the ensemble. Assorted scrapes, bruises, cuts and welts on my arms and legs that come with doing outdoor work for a living in a house with 3 dogs and a fully clawed cat that wants to be in my lap all the time. It's cold up, so vasoconstriction has pulled all the blood away from my skin, a trait that served my ancestors well during the last ice age, but leaves me with pale skin that contrasts the various wounds and look like a corpse that fell out the back of a pickup truck. Black booty shorts with cryptid painted in bright red gothic font across my arse, that at the shitpost calligrapher gave me for my wedding present. A peculiar but extremely comfortable garment that straddles the line between lacy camisole and industrial strength sports bra, like the Ever Given straddling the Suez Canal. It is also bright red with black accents. The jacket that I grabbed out of the closet, which is in fact a black velour dinner jacket. The Tokyo Ghoul-inspired reusable anti-COVID mask a friend made me with a set of coyote teeth. My sunglasses, which are shaped like a Halloween bat. The lenses are the wings, and also the body is the nose bridge. It is also bright red. a very large, remarkably humanoid poodle that I've been audibly affectionately calling Dear Creature, who is also hanging off my arm like she's my prom date. The very large and remarkably humanoid poodle is also dressed up in a black dog sweater that has white bones printed on it to look like an X-ray jacket showing off her skeleton. I look like I am taking my very fancy werewolf girlfriend to a particularly casual dinner party for vampires, but the thing is really selling it, and probably alarming the kid most, is the fun accessory I've acquired in the parking lot not 5 minutes earlier. The small scrape at my hairline is actually a painless but profusely bleeding head wound that I'd somehow entirely failed to notice covering my face, neck, and décolletage and magnificent cleavage in blood, like a Tarantino film extra. This does explain why the creature has been delicately trying to use her body weight to push me down on the floor for the last 10 minutes so I don't injure myself while we wait for the paramedics she hopes this kid called to arrive, you see. The creature has such a high and naive opinion of humanity. I decide this social situation is already fucked, and so the only way out of it is through, and with haste, before I start dripping on the floor. Hi there, I say cheerfully, to indicate this is a visually alarming but not terribly serious situation. Just a small Slurpee. The cashier has entered the relevant code into the register before I finish the sentence. His gaze flicks off me just long enough to look at the total as he grips his rosary harder. $6.66, he says. Oh cool, I have exact change, I say, taking the money out of my as yet unsanguinated pocket without looking and slap it down on the counter. You have a good night and be safe out there, I wave, leaving. I get to the van, mortified, buckle the creature up, and as I make to leave, I have to put it in reverse, which automatically turns on the backup camera. It also turns on the music player. I make eye contact with the cashier as the dulcet tones of John Philip Sousa boom from the van, hard enough to make the windshield and the windows of the 7-Eleven rattle for the 9.5 seconds I have to wait to be able to turn the volume back down. Not knowing what else to do, I give him a thumbs up and leave. Anyway, now I know what my future van wizard has got to be dressed like and what their familiar is. It's good stuff. Obsessed. I would have fallen in love. The werewolf had noticed. Oh dear. Kira, this is just the average non-binary Pride Parade outfit. Well, that's a good story. Thank you very much to all the gang for suggesting Gallus' stories, and thank you to Gallus for writing them. That one was from October of last year. There's lots of them. It's good stuff. So we will call it there. Thank you very much for bearing with me through the rapidly vacillating focus of this stream from Crusader Kings 3 to one story to other stories, but in the end we had a lovely time. And please do keep a record somewhere, some of you, of these stories, because I think we should return and do other storytime streams where chat submits stories for us to read, because I enjoy telling them and I hope you enjoy listening to them as well. So we will finish it there. I don't know if Moose is still in the chat. I know Pental's gone, but thank you, Pental, for when you were here, and thank you, Moose, for hopping in as well. Thank you all for all of your support this year. I'm back in Brighton tomorrow. There may be a stream, there may not. Unclear at this stage, because it depends on New Year's Eve. Oh, hang on, tomorrow isn't New Year's Eve, is it? It's the day before. There might be something tomorrow then. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Can we have a goodbye? You know what? We can have a goodbye balloons. We can have goodbye confetti. We can have goodbye hearts. We can have goodbye thumbs up. Goodbye double thumbs up. And goodbye lasers. Thank you all so much. And good night.